Good morning. Jesus is speaking to his disciples about suffering, saying you're going to suffer. Suffering is something that is inevitable, but do not lose hope in your suffering, because from your suffering will come joy. While everybody else around you in the world is rejoicing, while everybody else in the world is enjoying the things of this world, there will be suffering for them, but in our own suffering, rather after our own suffering, there will be joy. Think of the story of the rich man and Lazarus. The rich man is enjoying himself on earth. He dines sumptuously, and he lives a nice, full life here on earth, whereas Lazarus, the poor man, is lying on his doorstep. The dogs lick his wounds, and he longs to eat the scraps that fall from the table. And so we look and we see after they have both died, the rich man is in hell, and the rich man is separated from God, and the rich man is crying out, whereas Lazarus is comforted by God. He is at the bosom of Abraham. Lazarus, who suffered on earth, is comforted in heaven. And so too in our own lives, suffering is inevitable. We try to avoid suffering. We try to come up with ways to dull pain. We try to come up with ways to skirt around suffering. But ultimately, suffering is inevitable. All of us suffer, all of us will suffer, but what do we do with that suffering? We speak of redemptive suffering. Perhaps for many in the world, that's a foreign concept. For us, we've heard of redemptive suffering all our lives, and we talk about it and we think about it. Well, surely there's something good that will come from this. But for so many in the world, they do not understand suffering. They do not understand redemption. And we are called as disciples to go out into the world and to help others to understand redemptive suffering, to go out into the world and to preach the gospel. In Acts of the Apostles, Paul is in Corinth, which is, I think I mentioned yesterday, was really, or a couple days ago, was a place really of iniquity, a place where there was much immorality, where there was prostitution, where there was all sorts of just licentiousness, and all around it was just kind of known that this was a scuzzy place. It was just not a good place to be. And so here Paul is, and he's sent out to proclaim the gospel. And he knows that there are people who are listening to him. He knows that he is able to form a church. It says he spends time there for a year and a half because there are people longing for the truth. There are people longing for goodness. There are people longing for Jesus Christ. There are people longing for redemption. The only way that I think we can really truly long for redemption is to recognize in our suffering our need. We suffer and we say, Lord, I need your mercy. I need your redemption. I need your forgiveness. And so as we prepare for the celebration of the Ascension on Sunday, Ascension Thursday, Sunday, and then we prepare most especially for the gift of the Holy Spirit on Pentecost, let us ask the Lord that he may continue to make us aware in our suffering, in our need, of our need to rely on him, our need to be nourished by him, and let us always focus on the fact that what we have here and now is not it, that through our suffering we are being prepared for a life in heaven.